Live from Lincoln Center in the heart of the Dallas Metroplex, this is Nip Talk, an honest and uncensored show about plastic surgery, health, beauty, and lifestyle. With your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann. Now it's time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the topics everyone is talking about. It's time for Nip Talk.
Hello everybody and welcome to Nip Talk. I'm your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann. For all those watching live and on recording, thank you very much. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And today I have with me, as always, my co-host, Sarah Bennett.
Hi.
And in the box, as always, is Travis. What's going on, Travis?
What's going on? What's happening?
Not much, just ready for another exciting show.
Hey man, I'm ready to talk about some more good plastic surgery, I guess.
All right, you're learning a lot. Yeah, you're learning a lot.
Yes, indeed.
So, Sarah, what week's gone by? Do anything exciting last week?
Not really, just like classic mom stuff.
Yeah?
I took Avery to a birthday, hung out with some friends, and just chilled. It was really low-key.
Low-key? Those are nice. Sometimes you get those really busy weeks, and then it's almost like overwhelming, and then you like to have those weeks where it's kind of chill like that.
Sometimes Avery literally will beg to just
do nothing.
Just sit on the couch and like watch a movie, and I'm like, yes.
Man, that is nice, because not all kids are like that. You know, my kids are always like, oh, let's go do something. So it's nice to have a little bit of that.
Yeah, me and Avery are definitely go sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a nice restful week.
Did.
So we talked about this last week. So I did that motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
And
it
was
really fun.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, I think I got 3 pictures that I brought. Yep, that's me and my daughter. That's up in the Colorado mountains. That's my daughter. We went to Aspen, so that's actually the Aspen ski mountain in the background.
So green.
I know, it's crazy. And then that's us on the top of Independence Pass on the Continental Divide. But yeah, it was a great trip. Like, I was a little nervous, about taking my daughter on this long motorcycle trip. But I mean, she was a trooper. Like, she didn't complain one time. Like, she just enjoyed seeing the scenery, and we went up to Aspen, we walked around, went shopping, then at night we went and saw a rock concert. We saw 9 Inch Nails at Red Rocks, which, by the way, have you guys been to Red Rocks?
I've never heard of it.
You haven't heard of it? Okay, so Red Rocks, I wish I brought a picture, man. So basically, Red Rocks is a amphitheater that's cut into the mountain. And so on either side of you have these giant like mountain walls coming up, and at the very bottom is the stage. And
is that theater everybody works out on?
I think
they're running up and down and doing all this crazy stuff.
Because it's not like your basic theater here at American Airlines Center where it's all flat. Like, this is it's like a sheer rock face, but then they cut seats into it.
Yeah, there's all these videos of people running up and down doing exercises on that.
I have to say, the legend of Red Rocks lives up to it. It was very, very impressive, and the show was awesome. I don't know if you guys like hard rock stuff, but 9 Inch Nails they put on a pretty awesome show, and
I bet.
My daughter just ate it up, and I'd never seen them too. So
I'm not familiar with 9 Inch Nails, but the name I am familiar with, because that's one of the greatest names I've ever heard for a band. 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, where does it come from?
So that's a great question. So I'm a total music nerd. So I know a lot about bands and stuff, and I can go. Well, first off, one of the interesting things about 9 Inch Nails, the lead guy Trent Reznor, for their very first album, he was a janitor at a music studio, and he was just making music at home, and he basically asked if after working he could do some demos on their equipment, and they're like, you're the janitor, but they agreed to let him do it.
They're cool.
Yeah, right. Well, anyway, they agreed to let him do it. He did all the parts, every guitar, the drums, the bass, everything, and then the demo that he cut while he was a janitor was the demo for Pretty Hate Machine, which came out in 88 or 89, and became a super smash hit. So just that cool story of him, being a janitor at a radio station, but also loving music, and then making that is just pretty amazing.
Classic.
But about the name, so when I was a kid, they were kind of a controversial band. They're kind of hard rock, and so they were a little controversial back in the day. For these times, not really, but the theory was always that 9 Inch Nails were the nails that they drove into Jesus on the cross, and it was supposed to be shockingly sacrilegious. But then I heard it or watched a interview with Trent Reznor, and he basically refuted that. He's like, no, I just came up with the name. I don't know how I came up with it. I just thought it was cool. But I agree with you, man. That's like a super cool name, right?
It's so funny.
But
it's so funny. And then as far as like the trip that you and your daughter took, now how was it riding the bike? I guess for that long, because I instantly think of that one movie clip where the flies are like hitting the guy's face. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. I mean, it was a rough trip. We rode 600 miles on Friday, and then Saturday was shorter because we went from like somewhere like a little town in Colorado to Aspen to Denver. But then on Sunday we rode Denver to Dallas.
Oh wow!
So on a bike, like you're stopping every couple of hours, so it's not like you're riding that long all at one time.
Yeah.
Like we would stop and walk around, get a soda, get food.
Yeah, because whenever I was a kid taking road trips, like obviously I didn't go on a bike, but all I can think about and remember is how I used to take like these long naps
right.
driving. So I'm like trying to figure out, well, did your daughter take naps?
No, she couldn't. Like that was a conversation we had, right? Because you don't want to fall asleep on the back of a bike. And like, so there was that picture of the bike, but the luggage does kind of box her in a little bit when she's on there because I'm in front of her. There's a luggage thing right behind her, and there's one on each side. So she's got a little bit of protection there. But yeah, we had to have this conversation of like, okay, if you're gonna do this, like it's like for real. Like you can't sleep. Like you have to like stay awake. And so she and I both know a little bit of sign language, so we were signing each other. Because we don't have. Her head's not big enough for in-ear buds. I thought they would be, and we brought like 2 sets, but she ended up not being able to wear them, and so we weren't able to like talk, but we would sign each other, and then when we would slow down in the towns, we would talk, and but it was amazing. Like it's one of those trips that I'm sure we'll both remember forever because it was just everything was great about it. Although there was 2 interesting things that happened in addition to the trip being interesting.
I'm sure it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows.
One, I got something called biker's palsy from riding all day Sunday. It's basically a nerve compression thing, and when I got home on Sunday, like my hand was clumsy, and I was kind of freaked out at first.
Strained and stuff.
Yeah, so basically the intrinsic muscles of my hand, the nerve got basically stunned, almost like a carpal tunnel, but it's actually a different nerve called the ulnar nerve. And I lost like fine motor in my hand for like a day or two, which being a surgeon, obviously that's bad. Now it's my left hand, and I didn't have to operate Monday because of the holiday, and after a couple days it kind of came back, but it kind of freaked me out. And so I'm actually gonna have to go to a doctor and like see, do I need to have like some sort of like nerve release because that shouldn't happen, even though it's kind of strenuous. And then even more interesting, so the last stop we made on Sunday before we got back to Dallas, stopped for gas in Bowie, Texas, and this guy came out of the gas station and he saw my bike and we just started talking motorcycles, and it was just kind of a very nice conversation. Come to find out, that guy follows me on TikTok, and after he left, recognized me, and then I think I brought a picture of it. He commented on one of my things, "Hey man, I didn't realize that was you at the Bowie gas station. It was nice to meet you." And it just blew me away because, I don't know, I mean, you have a ton of followers. Maybe you run into people that...
I do. I'm always still surprised, but that's really nice. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, I've had it happen once or twice before, but like more like in the area around here where I know I have a lot of local, followers, but like to have it happen like out in the, the middle of nowhere, well, not that Bowie's in the middle of nowhere, but it's not... Dallas.
I'll tell you like this, it feels so good working with 2 celebrities.
2 celebrities.
I might have to get y'all autograph after we finish.
Oh my gosh, listen to you.
I can do that for you.
Yeah, you get her autograph. She's a little bit more famous than I am. I'm just the doctor guy. But I thought that was really cool. Like I just, so shout out to that guy. I forgot his name, Evan. I think his name was Evan. I can't remember on there, sorry. But shout out to you, man. It was really cool to meet you, and thanks for pointing that out. So, all right, so moving on. First segment we're going to do today is it's a question I hear all the time, and so, because we always do a plastic surgery topic, I like to cover things that people ask about. And so one question I get all the time when I have people in my office is about breast implants, silicone versus saline. Mm-hmm. Because as you guys may or may not have known, like in the 90s, they actually took silicone implants off the market.
Yeah.
And so like there was this pretty bad stigma with silicone implants for quite some time. And so when I first started here in 2010, we were using silicone again, and people would always ask me, are these things really safe? Because all they remember is about how they got taken off the market and there's all these lawsuits. So I want to just talk about them for a little bit because I think it's good information to know. And talking about this, I think you have to start with the history. And so little brief history lesson. I'm a total history nerd, so I looked up a couple things. The very first breast augmentation was actually done, well, the first silicone breast augmentation was actually done in Houston, Texas, a lady named Timmy Lindsay in 1962. I actually found a picture of her. That's Miss Lindsay, who received the very first silicone breast augmentation. And so after that was done, the popularity of silicone implants did start to rise pretty quickly. And through the late 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, silicone implants became extremely popular. Well, back in those days, the silicone implants were actually a liquid silicone. It was actually, it was like motor oil was like the consistency of it. So what happened? Yeah, I know, it's kind of freaky, right? And I still, to this day, am taking out like those old implants. And so what ended up happening is when they started to reach their lifespan, so 20 years, 20 plus years, what happened is these things would rupture, and then that liquid silicone would leak out.
And just poison you, pretty much?
Poison's a pretty strong word. Like the reason that they
That's what pops into my head.
That's good. No, that's a great question, and I like that you're asking these things because these are very similar questions I get. People in my office like, well, like what happened back then? Well, fortunately, silicone is fairly inert. It's why most medical products are made of silicone, like catheters and like implantable infusoports are made of silicone. But the problem was when that liquid silicone leaked out, it would actually irritate the inside of that pocket where the implant lived. And what was happening is it would cause this really severe scarring. I mean, to the point that people were having pain and their breasts were like getting all deformed. And so when that started happening, and it started happening kind of en masse, right? Because once enough time had gone by that these things started to fail, then you had a bunch of them failing at the same time. So you went from where you had a bunch of people doing well to like a bunch of people are not doing well. And then people started saying, hey, is something going wrong here? So what happened is in 1992, the Food and Drug Administration actually came along and said, we're going to put a halt on this. And so I did bring a video because talking about the scarring, Travis, that very first video, this is basically a video of me opening up one of these old school implants. This is an implant that's like 30 years old.
I've seen these.
Have you seen it? Roll it. Travis, can you roll that video? Hey everybody, it's Dr. Hermann here. I just got done with a surgery and I have this. And what is it? Is it a dragon egg? Is it some heart? No, it's actually a 30-year-old breast implant that's completely encapsulated with scar tissue. And I got it out all in one piece, and I'm going to cut it open here. So let's take a look and see what we got. I don't think it's ruptured. I'm not 100% sure. Now I may rupture it just opening this. Either I ruptured it or it was ruptured. You hear that crunch? I don't know if you can hear that. That's actually calcium on the shell. Here's some more of it, listen. It's crunchy, it's like cornflakes. Ooh, I think it's intact. Ooh, I don't know if I ruptured it or if it was ruptured. I don't know, I may have done that. Actually, I can't tell. Oh yeah, I think I did that. I think it was intact. Pretty sure. So here's that silicone too. It's kind of gross. This is considered a liquid silicone. It's not the new gels. The new gels don't leak like this. And then here's that shell, just perfect. I mean, all out in one piece, and you can see this is all calcium deposit from the effects of the silicone on that shell. So anyway, thought that was really cool. Thought you'd want to see it. 30-year-old silicone implant, got it all in one piece. Patient's going to do great. Yeah, it's pretty wild, right? Did you guys hear that crunch?
Intense.
So that crunching is actually calcium that builds up in that shell due to the severe reaction from it being ruptured. And I think that one was ruptured. You could see the goo on the outside of it. And that one was a little bit more solid than some of them. There actually were some out there that were even more liquidy. But yeah, that's just kind of an example of like what you would find and what those patients were going through, when these things kind of went bad. So what happened is that the FDA took them off the market in '92, and they did about 8 or 9 years of research because they wanted to see because what happened is they started blaming other things for the implants, like, oh, they're causing cancer or all these other like serious medical issues. Yes. So they did like years and years of testing, and what they basically found is that none of those connections held up. That the biggest problem was that the liquid silicone was causing people to have the reaction just like that patient had, and although there was no picture of her, if you saw her before I took that out, she was really severely scarred and painful, and the breast just looked really awful.
Yeah, it looked deformed.
Yeah, like the implant looked deformed,
Yeah.
right? So they did all the studies, and in 2001, the FDA started trials again for a new generation of silicone. So when we talk about implants today, we always say gummy bear. You hear that word thrown around, gummy bear implants. So the reason they call them gummy bears is because that is the consistency of the gel. It's a gel now, not a liquid. And because it's changed, you can literally cut those things in half. And I don't know if you can see in the video, but there was like just that stuff glistening as it like came off my fingers. The new ones won't do that. They're more solid. So like if it gets a rupture, you don't have that leakage, and therefore you're not getting like that severe reaction that people were getting back in the day. So as I said, they released them in 2001. By 2006, the FDA fully approved implants again. However, they did say that they wanted people to get MRIs to check for rupture every 3 years, and every 10 years they wanted the implants to be replaced. So all the surgeons were like, okay, fair enough. These are new products. We want to make sure everything is safe. So we were getting MRIs, and of course all the MRIs were negative. Like we were getting none that were positive. But I say none, like very, very, very tiny fraction of a percent. And in 10 years, we started replacing these implants, and we found that the implants looked like they were brand new.
Right.
Which makes sense. I mean, you think about a car built in 2006 versus a car built in 1970. I mean, the cars or anything, technology just gets better and better and better. And so after 10 years, when we started opening people up, we found that really we were putting people at risk by doing a surgery they didn't need.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, right. Because so nowadays, like for my patients, speaking specifically to how long will they last and when do I need to do something, I tell my patients if you're not having a problem, don't worry about them.
Yeah.
The FDA recommends you get them routinely monitored, but it's hard to get insurance to pay for that. It's going to be a lot of negative studies. If something happens, come see me. Otherwise, just live your life. So nowadays in 2022, the overwhelming majority of implants are silicone, and they're not without some risks. And so with everything, I like to look at all sides of it, right? Because I'm not that plastic surgeon. I'm not that guy that's sitting here saying, oh, plastic surgeon's greatest thing ever. Like go get plastic surgery, right? I want people to be informed. Want people to know. So when I talk to patients about risks, I mean, any surgery you have has risks like bleeding and infection, but those are like super, super low. So what are risks specific to the implants? For me, the biggest one, it still is scarring. And it's not necessarily due to the rupture like that those patients had, but just the irritation of doing the surgery to put the implant in carries some risk of having contracture. And so when I talk to my patients, I tell them that the national average of that's around 10%. For me, it's less because I do this all the time. It's around 2-3%. I get someone gets contracture, and it doesn't get bad like that one patient has, but it can be enough that you might want to have surgery for it. And so I want to make sure people are aware, because there is a very small percentage of people that will have the surgery and then they get some scarring, and then they have to go back to surgery to fix that. And luckily, it is pretty easily fixable.
Right.
The other question I get is, how likely are these to rupture? And so I got one more video. This is a video I did. Now, the video I did on social media actually had music too, but I know if I put it up on Facebook or YouTube, they may pull it down. So I took the music out of it. So it's a little less exciting, because the music was Guns N' Roses, so I thought it went really well.
Nice.
But I have an implant. I have a video of me torture testing implants. Can you roll it, Travis? Breast implant? Let's find out. How tough is a silicone breast implant? Pretty tough. So that implant actually survived all of that. That was the same implant. I didn't have a bag of them that I was using. Those things are pretty, they're very vulnerable to sharp damage. You can cut them with a knife or a pen or something, but blunt trauma. And I get people all the time that come into my office, not all the time, but periodically it's oh, I have breast implants, I was in a car wreck, like, do I need to be worried? I'm like, nope. Like, I've never seen anybody get into a trauma and have one rupture.
Where did you get the ideas for, like, the tasks or the tests that you would put?
Oh, man, I just, like, this is what I do, like, in my downtime.
I feel like you just went into straight boy mode.
You're like, right.
How can I mess this up?
Dude, I have videos of me putting them in the microwave. Like, I have one video where I ran over a breast implant with my truck. And like it didn't pop. I thought for sure when I ran over with my truck that it was gonna just boom. And we know what it did? It just like it got really, really flat, and then when it was the tires off, it just went whoop, right back. It's crazy, right? But anyway, so yeah, I mean the silicone implants today are very tough. Like they're gonna last a long time, and I think that the risks are very low. Now there's one thing just as a teaser that we're gonna talk about, and I think we've teased it in the past, is that breast implant illness. You know, that's kind of a newer thing that's come into the media, and there are it's a very small percentage. The last time I looked at the data, which is pretty recently, it was like less than 1% of patients who get implants that will say that they believe their implants are giving them like kind of vague symptoms of like headache, fatigue, you know, brain fog, joint pain. Danica Patrick actually is a big proponent of this, and she was having some issues, and she had her breast implants out, and she felt like she got a lot better. And so when that first came out, I didn't put a lot of stock in it because I know there's been so many research papers written about it. But I've done a little bit more research into it, and I take it a little bit more serious now, and it's something I actually talk with my patients about. And so we're gonna have a segment coming up, maybe in the next few weeks, because I think that we need to dedicate some time to talk about that, because it's something that it's really hot right now. It's in the news, and you see about it on social media. And I'm not that surgeon that just discounts it just because I want to put in implants. But I'm a science guy, right? I always am like, what does the science say? So we're gonna dig into that one day.
Well, the subject is near and dear to my chest, I guess, because I have implants.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I got them done probably when you started your practice or started doing surgery, like 2010.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah.
Now, did you go silicone or saline?
Saline, because I was so scared to
Were
get
you?
silicone.
Okay, see?
But the doctor,
wow, all right.
all the questions and all that stuff you just went over were all the things that like went through my head.
Yeah.
Whenever I was thinking about doing it, obviously I did, but like, he didn't say anything like...
He didn't go into the detail?
Well, he didn't scare me away from getting silicone either. He was just like, these ones feel more normal than the saline ones, but either one is a good option for you.
Sure. So, so my biggest gripe about saline implants, here's my complaints about them. One, they don't feel like breast tissue. Like you can totally tell when someone has saline implants if you're like, feeling of them. Two, they tend to look less natural because you can get rippling. If you're a thinner person and you don't have a lot of breast tissue, you can actually see the implant on the side. And so that's a problem. And then lastly, they don't last as long. Like, about 10-ish years is when you see them start to rupture. And the reason
I have to get mine redone soon.
Yeah, I mean, if they rupture, you'll know it because it'll go flat overnight. Your body will absorb that saline. Yeah, that's common. I see people in my office for that all the time. Like they'll wake up one morning and their implant's just gone. Like their breast is like flat. But yeah, it's because they ripple more, and those ripple points become weak spots in the implant, and so they definitely don't last as long as the silicone. So
I might need to make an appointment soon.
No rush, but I'm happy to see you anytime you want. Okay, I think that's a good topic. It's nice, because there's a lot of questions about that. So I for me, it's like silicone implants are the way to go just because they look more natural, feel more natural, and they last longer. So, and just for me, like the saline implants, I've never really been a big fan of them. I started plastic surgery right when silicone was picking up speed, and so.
Yeah, the doctor wasn't very I get silicone.
Passionate about one way or the other.
Really good.
Yeah, when I started in 2010, I was leaning people towards silicone already because I just worked with him so much. Like
he was definitely an older doctor.
So
he's probably saline safest.
Right, yeah. So when I did my fellowship in cosmetic breast and body, like the guy I worked with is he's like a super famous plastic surgeon, Dennis Hammond, and so he was one of the FDA lead investigators for silicone implants. So I felt like I had like a little bit more knowledge base working with him.
Yeah, probably. For sure.
All right, good topic. All right, moving on. So it's now time for the Nip Tuck 911, where we talk about crazy celebrity stuff. And this one was actually brought to my attention by my wife. I love that my friends, like, I have all these people who, like, send me these things like, oh, here's something you can talk about.
Ideas.
Yeah, you did a couple. And in fact, you have your own segment coming up, which I'm super excited about. Before that, we are going to do the Nip Tuck 911. You familiar with the actor Zac Efron?
Yes.
Okay, I was too.
I'm familiar with his muscles.
Yeah, he has gotten kind of muscly. So this is him. Now this picture is a little bit older. This is like from the early teens, I believe.
Yes.
But like that's just, a regular picture of him. So in spring of the 2021, there was a little controversy with him because he, after not being, I guess, in the media for a while, did like some interview and he looked completely different. Can you throw up the next one, Travis? Yeah, I mean, he's obviously aged a little bit, but like the shape of his jaw is like way different. Not to mention his cheeks are fuller, and I think I have a side by side. Yep. So that's roughly the same age. He's a little bit, I think, younger in the left picture. But to me, I look at those pictures and I'm like, wow, like there really is a lot of like difference.
He looks like puffy.
Yeah, his cheeks look puffy. His jaw looks like an anvil. Like it's a good-looking jaw. Like it's very strong.
Very square.
But it's very different than what he had just recently. And so that was in 2021 in the spring. And so there was all of this like controversy and questions on the internet and social media about did he have jaw implants or like did he have a bunch of fillers?
I remember.
You do. See,
yes.
I guess I need to like be a little bit more in tune with this stuff because I just missed it or I just didn't happen to see it. So last week or the week before, in the last 2 weeks, he came out and basically broke the silence on what was going on. And so his story was that he was running through his house with socks on, slipped and hit his face on a granite counter, basically knocked himself out. He didn't really specify what his injuries were, like it didn't go into any detail, but he said, and I quote, that my chin bone was hanging off of my face, which I have no idea what he means by that. I just can only assume that like maybe
sounds like a good story.
Yeah, it sounds like a good story. So then he went on to say that due to his injury, that his masseter muscle, and I have a picture, Travis, I think the masseter muscle is like the next pic. Yeah, so that's your masseter. It's one of your muscles of mastication, which is chewing, which it is on the side of your face, kind of where, the angle of your jaw is. He said that because of his injury, his masseter muscle got hyper enlarged, and that's why his jaw looks different. And so I have a little bit of knowledge in this. Like I'm not like a craniofacial specialist in plastic surgery, but I did do a ton of craniofacial reconstruction when I was a resident because, I was working at a level 1 trauma center, treated tons of people with jaw injuries. And I never in my day have ever seen anyone get a masseter muscle get large to the point that it would look like the changes that he had. Like, I think that is total, like, untrue. Like, I think he's just saying that, that there's just no way I think that his masseter muscle on both sides, because you see how even it is. Like, it's like perfectly even.
Was he not like allowed to like move his like talk? Like, because I know when people get like jaw surgery, they like have their mouth like wired shut.
You're very right, very smart. Yes, so like when people break their jaws, and so just to kind of get into that, if you break your jaw and the jaw isn't like displaced in a great amount of deal, or if your teeth are not messed up, because what happens a lot of times when you break your jaw, there's a lot of muscles on your jawbone, and those muscles will pull your jaw out of alignment, and then your teeth won't fit right. So when people have jaw injuries like mandible fractures or maxillary fractures, which is the top part, the first thing I would do is check and say, okay, do your teeth line up? If your teeth line up, then you can just wire their jaw shut for 4 weeks and then they'll heal. But if they don't line up, then you actually have to go in there and reposition those bones, and you have to put a plate on the bone, and then you wire their jaw shut. And those plates are permanent. And so thinking about like his injury, yep, and there they are right there. So that's a picture of, you can imagine those two lines being a fracture, and those are the reconstruction plates that you would put on the jaw. So when I look at his picture and think, okay, he's saying I didn't have, surgery. Well, actually, I don't guess he didn't really say one way or the other. He just kind of gave his answer and didn't really like dig into like what may have happened. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what really happened here?
Yeah.
And I have two possible scenarios. One, he just had cosmetic surgery. He wanted to have a square jaw. They put in some jaw implants, and that's why he looks different. And that to me is the obvious, most likely answer, just because of the appearance of it. His jaw looks good. Like it's very like strong, and it's very symmetric. And the obvious answer is that he had jaw implants. But could there be another answer? I personally think the masseter stuff is total nonsense. I just do not believe that at all. But what could have happened? Well, if he actually fractured his jaw, he may have had to have a plate put on one side, which therefore, if it was a bad enough fracture and had enough plates, could change the shape of that jaw. And then he went to the other side and made it look symmetric by adding an implant or something.
Right.
So I don't know what the right answer is. I know it's not just that his muscles got bigger, because I've just never in my life heard of something like that.
Do we have like a picture of what he looks like right now?
I don't. Like, those are the most recent.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I did find one from a Men's Health from more recently, but it looked the same. Like, it wasn't like, I don't think that was like his picture because he was swollen.
Yeah.
I feel like we can come up with a new like segment for the show. Is Dr. Herman's or Dr. Bruce Herman's BS Buster.
Busted.
That was a great
Busted.
Story.
Yeah, and then you can put like a little stamp on the picture.
Boom. All right, man. Trovis, we got to work on that for next week.
Let's do it.
Busted. No, and and I don't like to dog on, I feel like celebrities are a little bit of,
Well, he definitely did not need plastic surgery.
No, he was so good looking, right?
He was like an angel baby.
Yeah, he looked so good, right? Yeah, and so I don't know, like I have to imagine the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Like, I mean, I can imagine maybe that, like, he slipped, he got a fracture, maybe he did have to have surgery to fix it.
Like,
and then,
I know I broke my arm when I was in 5th grade, and I had to be in a cast, and I had pins in my elbow right here. And my bone is bigger. Like, this bone is different than this arm.
Right, because of the way it healed.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
So I could see that if he had surgery.
Yes. Right, and so, and that's where I'm thinking that, okay, maybe he didn't have cosmetic surgery, maybe it was traumatic, and then it's the plates, and then, it would be weird if it came out looking that good from a traumatic injury. You'd figure it'd be more asymmetric, but maybe he, adjusted one side or whatever.
I mean, he's got the money to make sure he looks...
But I hope he didn't have plastic surgery. Like, I really hope.
I hope not either.
Because he's so good looking.
He is.
Like, why would he do that? I mean, he looks good now, too, but but I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Why would you do that? He needs to come on the show. That's what needs to happen.
That'd be nice.
Zach, come on the show.
I'd allow it.
Yeah, you can sit next to Sarah. I don't know, maybe we could Farkle to see who gets to sit next to him. Okay, Sarah. So I understand that you want to talk about something today.
Yeah, I want to talk about clothes, my favorite subject.
Now, I love fashion.
Yeah,
we've talked about this.
Yes, I've seen
so I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'm excited for fall to start. I actually went to market like a month or two ago, and I picked out a bunch of fall fashion trends, and I have some pictures.
I want to come to market with you sometime.
Okay.
I had a friend that had a store, and she took me to market one time, and I loved it. All that stuff, sometime you're going to take me.
Yeah, there's a men's market. They only have a men's market once a year in Dallas, but every 3 months for girls.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that discrimination?
See, yeah, but when we go over the pictures, I'll explain why that is.
Oh, okay, all right.
So yeah, so first up, we've got bomber jackets.
They're back.
Jackets, yeah, they're a classic staple though, but for some reason this year for fall and winter.
Now, can I ask you,
because this picture's from a while back.
Where do you, as someone who's very knowledgeable about fashion and have your own store and all that, where do you go to try and figure out what's going to be hot this year? I'm sure you probably just know what's hot, but is there a place as an expert in store
websites and stuff?
You just do a lot of research?
So first, usually when they start doing the seasons, fashion shows, the big ones.
Do you go to those?
No. But I like to watch them.
Yeah.
So they have color palettes, they have their Pantone colors for
Is there a color
season.
for this fall?
Yeah, there's tons of them. It's a lot of actually bright colors, and definitely always neutral colors. Things that are just neutral colors like you'd see in nature and stuff like that. So out in the fall. But yeah.
Very good.
What do we got next? So I'm actually wearing something super similar to this, and it's your basic white tee, blazer, and jeans. And that's super basic, but everybody's gonna be wearing this, and I'm wearing this today pretty much.
Ripped jeans too.
Yeah.
They're making a comeback.
They are, for sure.
That's a nice
What's
blazer.
next? Okay,
those boots are awesome.
High knee boots. Those are my favorite ones. I have so many of them, and they're super versatile. She's wearing them with skirts, shorts, whatever, but you can totally wear them.
Do you sell the boots
anything.
like that in your store too?
We don't usually sell a lot of shoes. I'm mostly just clothes and accessories.
And why is that? Is that because of it's a lot of cost up front with those, or?
I think it's because people prefer a specific brand of shoe.
Oh, I see.
Like a lot of people only buy Steve Madden or Dolce Vita or specific brands. But yeah.
So in your store, do you carry certain brands all the time, or you just kind of see what's in?
I have my favorite ones. So at my store, my store is more of trendy, affordable. So we don't carry name
Gucci
brands. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, we carry just
But that's great
basic,
though. I mean, you want to look good without breaking the bank, right?
Yes.
I mean, I guess if you live downtown Dallas, Beverly Hills, then yeah, you want to have the Gucci and stuff. But most people just want to look good, but be able to get a lot of outfits without going broke.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in getting those classics pieces that are high end and something maybe that you're not gonna wear out, So if you're getting a tank top, probably you don't need to buy a Prada tank top. You don't need that. But maybe a Prada jacket or a purse.
Right, like a signature piece.
Yeah.
So I kind of in the same way, because I like to go out a lot and I like to dress up. And so I have a couple jackets that I like to get.
Yeah.
I'll spend money on a jacket because that's a signature piece. Or I do a lot of accessories like sunglasses.
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah,
Charles, you look like you're
agree.
about to jump in here, man.
I was just gonna say I can tell that you all put a lot more effort into your wardrobe because I just walk into a store and be like, oh yeah, this match. This is.
You're do the colors match?
But that's the guy vibe, and we're gonna go. I'm definitely gonna show you some boys fall fashion trends
because
too.
this next picture, for example, I don't know how you would even pick this out.
Yeah, so this trend is maxi dresses or skirts, and then it's also a mix between dainty. And what I mean by dainty is just the fabric. So this is satin, obviously, or some type of
not
silky
real
material.
thick.
Yeah, it's just dainty stuff that makes you think, oh, that's pretty. When you look at her, you're
it
that's
looks
pretty.
chic.
Yeah.
What does it mean by maxi? What does that mean?
Maxi means the length, so it goes all the way to her
right,
ankles.
okay. All
Yeah,
right,
and
so-
a midi is between your knee.
So
and-
maxis are in this fall?
Yeah, skirts and dresses.
Really? Okay.
And
that's
they
good.
look really cute with boots too. So
No, I think that looks good.
Yeah, look at this fella.
Now, what's the
He looks
fabric?
dead.
What's the fabric of those pants?
Those look like corduroy, and
Okay.
his jacket looks like tweed, and that's
Yeah.
a shacket, and it's plaid. And if you notice his jeans,
I'm sorry to ask these questions, but I'm really interested.
a
What's
shacket.
shacket? What do you mean by that?
It's like a shirt and a jacket mixed together.
So that's all one piece?
Yeah,
No.
that is a jacket. But it's like a shirt, though. It looks like a shirt. It looks like a basic
Oh, I see what you're
button-up.
saying. So it's like a very casual
But it's
jacket.
like an insulated shirt.
Got it.
Yes.
But it looks like a jacket.
Yeah.
So the word for the day, for
It's
me
shacket.
at least, is shacket.
Shacket.
Yeah, you need to get
love
one.
that word.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
both wearing shackets next week.
Yeah.
Charles, let's do it.
Fashion show.
Have a shacket party.
Shacket party.
I'd be down.
No, I
I'd be
think
down.
that looks really good. I would like to wear something like that.
Yeah, he looks legit. And
Yeah.
what do we notice? He's not wearing skinny jeans. Skinny
I was
jeans for boys. They're
I've
not.
never been a fan of that.
Yeah.
Well, and so part of it too is my most influential years were the 90s, right? What do we have in the 90s? Baggy, ripped
Jinkos.
jeans. Yeah. And so it's when the skinny stuff came out, I was just what is this sorcery? I was not really
Yeah.
as big of a fan of it. So
Yeah, straight jeans or straight pants in general, even for girls. So
Yeah.
skinny jeans for girls are going away. It's getting
Really?
wider and wider and wider.
You know what I'd like to see come back, which has always kind of been around, is those bell-bottom flare pants.
Oh, I have them and I sell them at my store.
I love those. I
Yeah.
think those are so cool.
I have
It's kind of classic.
so many pairs.
All
Oh,
right, what do we got here?
so that's a cutie right there. He's wearing a bomber jacket again.
Oh, that's a bomber too.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
all right.
a lot of the styles this season can be worn, a guy can wear something a girl can wear, and a girl can wear something a guy can wear. The shackets, the bomber jackets,
Mm-hmm.
even the pants, straight leg, like a man style,
Are they
a very manly style for girls.
Are there a lot of designers out there making like unisex clothes?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that
like
a thing?
I bought a shacket for my store. Like it's a corduroy
Mm-hmm.
shacket, and it's very like 70s. It has like the 70s like staple like flower.
Oh, you
on
have
it,
to show me that.
And it's different colors, and I put it in like my unisex area in
Yeah.
my store, and I already had one guy already bought it. So it's like,
You're gonna have to show me. I'm gonna have to see
yeah,
this.
it's a cute look for sure. And then we have another shacket, but it's plaid again, and
It looks like a
it's-
flannel material.
Yeah, it's a flannel.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
I used to wear a lot of flannel in the 90s.
Flannel's always good. And so like the thing about not always, like we only have a market once a year in Dallas for men. And it's because men's styles are so classic, especially the fashion that's wearable for men. Obviously, if you're Harry Styles, because he wears crazy stuff, and like a celebrity, they have like this big opportunity to just like go all out.
Yeah.
But like your basic guy is not going to wear a skirt.
No,
you know.
not typically.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
not sure
yeah.
I've ever worn a skirt that I can remember.
Yeah. And this is another trend. This is just your basic band tee, and she's wearing straight jeans again.
Now you know, have we talked about this? That I
I've
have
seen
like
you wear
the
it.
insane
Yeah.
collection of band shirts I have.
You what's that store you like to go to in Denton?
Vagabond Vintage. Yeah, I go to Vagabond Vintage, Denton, Dallas, and Fort Worth. They all know me. Like, in fact, they actually text me when they get new stuff. They're like, "Hey, we got these shirts. You want to come check it out?"
I love it. And that one of the reasons why I like fall fashion is because it's a lot more versatile. Because that outfit that girl was wearing with the band tee, that
Dude, that's
you
classic.
could wear that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it looks great.
It's
Yeah.
the same.
Plus,
so that's why I
AC/DC
love
shirt.
it.
They're the
Yeah.
best.
It's easy. I mean,
Dr.
I have
Hermann,
one.
I can especially see you in the same like boots that she has on.
Oh yeah, I got my boots on today. I wear boots a lot. Like they're very versatile. Like
That would definitely be a look for you, man.
You throw a shacket or
Over
a
that.
flannel over
so
that.
one of my
you're
favorite
ready.
things to wear out. Now I'm kind of a jeans snob. I have like one brand of jeans that I really like. I wear a lot of 7.
Definitely heard of it.
Yeah, I wear a lot of 7 jeans, but like for my tops, I do a lot of like vintage shirts underneath with like I don't have shackets, but I have a lot of like button downs, but I wear them like a shacket. Like I don't button them up and I don't tuck them in. Like I love that. And sometimes I'll wear a sport coat over that, or sometimes I'll wear like a vintage shirt with just a jacket over it.
Yeah,
I love that
that's
look.
what literally everything that all the girls that were what they were wearing, men can wear, and vice versa.
I'm gonna come to your store. You have to hook me up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all of our segments. Do we have any questions today, Travis?
I think so. So one question that we have, instead of implants, can I get a breast lift? Like, what is the difference, I guess, between those two?
A lift.
Get a lift?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's a great question, actually, because I have a fair number of people who come into my office and they're like, I want implants. And I look at them like, you have a lot. And I'm going to say, like, what size bra do you wear now? And they're like, I wear a D cup. I'm like, you're a D and you want implants? They're like, well, no, I want the fullness up top. And they think that in order to get that, they need an implant. But really, they just need a lift.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's a conversation I have with people very, very commonly, that they may think they want implants, but in reality, they have enough tissue, and maybe they've had kids, and their breasts get kind of stretched out, and they're sagging a bit.
Is that a lower cost, too? Or is it about the same?
It's roughly the same because you don't have the cost of the implants, but doing a lift takes longer.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the OR, time is money. And so because it's a longer surgery, there's a little bit more cost for that, but you take away the cost of the implants. So it's kind of equivocal.
Okay.
But don't get me wrong, I love breast implants. We do them all the time. But if I can get someone a result without putting something foreign in their body, I'm always going to do that. You know, the simplest solution in surgery is usually the best one, just like in life. And so, if you can avoid getting an implant and get the result that you want, then do it. Now, a lot of people can't. They may have like a B cup and they want a D, and there's just no way you can do that without an implant. Fat grafting is another option, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, it depends on what they want, Travis. Like, there are people out there that might, consider an implant, but really a lift is really all they need. And what they need is they just need to visit with a plastic surgeon and be very specific about what they're looking for, and hopefully the surgeon will, take the time to kind of guide them in the right direction.
Absolutely. So yeah, we have another question too.
Cool.
What are calf, butt, or other body part implants made of?
Oh, okay. All implants, to my knowledge, are made of silicone. Now, there were some saline inflatable ones, but the shells of those are silicone as well. So, like your saline implants you were talking about, the shell of that's actually made of silicone. It's not like plastic or anything. And so, to my knowledge, all body implants are made of silicone, at least the shell. Now, one thing I would say, Travis, to that person is really like implants outside of breast implants are generally not considered to be a great surgeries. Like, you know, there were butt implants for a while, calf implants. And there's a lot of problems with those surgeries.
Well, because I know a lot of guys have issues with, or like, all I've ever noticed is guys that don't, like they're not able to have muscles on their calves. Like I don't know if that's some type of like muscle issue. Like they can't form it as easy on their calves.
I'm not aware of that. Like, because I mean, obviously right now I'm not like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger working out like 24/7, but there were times in my life when I used to work out a lot with weights, and so we would have these conversations of like,
don't skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that the calf implants kind of got popular because people were skipping leg day, honestly. I've never heard of anything medical where you can't build muscle in a certain area. Now, genetically, you know, like some people are going to be more prone to have bigger shoulders. Like I have very narrow shoulders. That's just genetic. And so other people might have bigger, broader, you know, more muscular shoulders.
Yeah, I'm genetically got big traps. I always have had them.
You're a gymnast though, right?
Yeah, I used to be.
Yeah, there you go. So to answer the question, most things are made of silicone, but outside of breast implants, I would really steer people away from other types of implants. So, well, the facial implants are okay. Those are made of silicone too, like the chin implants, like, you know, getting here. Those are made of silicone. Well, those are not as bad. The ones that really are bad are like the butt implants. Those were terrible. Calf implants were not great.
I've never heard of calf implants before.
That's the thing, man. Don't do it though. Don't do it, Travis.
I think I'm pretty okay with my calves.
I've seen a YouTuber. I don't remember who he is, but I think he had like an obsession with plastic surgery. He got like bicep implants.
Okay, we got a segment for next week. We're digging into the YouTuber. We're gonna find him.
So our last question that we have actually comes from inside the booth. You know, we have 2 guests in our booth today.
Can we say hi to the guests real quick?
Of course. You guys jump in, please.
Hi.
What's up, everybody?
So our last question comes from inside the booth. They want to know, Dr. Hermann, will you show us your calves?
My calves?
Yes.
I guess. Now, I used to be a runner. There was a time when I had pretty good calves.
Do you have good calves?
I used to be a sprinter. So, like, I'll actually say, and I'm standing up here, so I'm out of the thing. When I was in college, and my friend in the booth remember this, I was in the finals of the 100-meter dash at Baylor. Because I was a sprinter, and so I don't know if they're great, and they're not as big as they used to be, but you can see like back in the day, maybe like, you know.
No, that's definitely some good like Tony's. That's some good muscle on their calves.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I'm getting old now, so I'm not in quite the shape I was, but so yeah, I think that's the first time I ever stripped for camera, like that I know of. But anyway, all right, everybody that watched the show, thank you so much. If you're watching, please like and subscribe. We love to have comments too. If you leave a comment, we'll answer it on the next show. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next week.